Hello everybody, we're back again for another book review. I'm sorry to throw three videos at you today, but I promise there won't be anything until next Thursday or Sunday. Uh, it's just the way it fell. And we've got the wee review up for The Midnight Meat Train from Clive Barker. And I'm going to do a video today wrapping up February, just the month of February, the books I've read and the books I'm going to read for next month, the plan, and stuff like that. And this video but is the review for the book I'm reading this week. Well, the main novel I was reading this week. I was reading short stories and that, but about the main novel that was getting my attention was Osamu Dazai. I think that's who it is. No Longer Human. So it is. So we'll talk a bit about that. Try not to make it last too long. But yes, it's not a long novel. You're talking 180 pages. Some Osamu Dazai, there he is there. A picture of him. Doesn't look like a happy guy, and with the way this story is, I don't think he was. But he was born in 1909 into a powerful landowning family in northern Japan. He was a brilliant student and he entered the French department of Tokyo University in 1930, but later boasted that in 5 years before he left without a degree, he had never attended a lecture. Dazai was famous for confronting head on the social and moral crisis of post war Japan. He committed suicide by throwing himself into Tokyo's Tamagawa Reservoir. His body was found on what would be his 39th birthday, June 1948. Now, Osamu Dazai, by reading this novel by him, and I should have looked up to see what other works he's done, because I think Mishima said that he was a big fan of his work. Mishima says, "What I despise about Dazai is that he exposes precisely those things in myself that I most want to hide." And getting that point from Mishima, that point of view from Mishima, in this story, this is, and I think it's a wee bit like an biography as well for Osamu Dazai, because this is like a psychological story. It's not a story with a main plot where you're getting the life of this character, and you are getting his life, but it's more in his psychological thoughts of how he perceives life and how he perceives others around him, and he feels out of place. Why it's called No Longer Human is he looks at everybody else as the human beings. He's different, and he knows he's different. He feels out of place, and while he feels out of place, he's living his life, the whole life, since a little boy. He's living a lie. The lie is himself, his personality. He puts on a mask around others, even his own family, his close family and friends. He put on this mask and became somebody that wasn't his true self. Why he done that is because he lived, since a wee boy, he lived with fear and shame in himself and fear for other people, human beings. So he had to be anything but himself. And doing that, he was fighting himself in his inner heart and his logical, his brain. I was like, he didn't know who his true self was, and it's a very sad story. So it is. It's a depressing story, and but it's also very. It makes you feel empathy for people struggling through mental illness and depression, because there's no doubt that this character and this writer, because he threw himself into a reservoir, he's not doing that for fun, there is depression mixed into it, and obviously through the writer as well as the character Yuso. But in the first part we get Yuso. It's not Yuso, sorry. I think it's the writer finds these pictures, and the pictures is of this young man or this boy at a young age, and it explains how he looks different from everybody else. And then there's a picture of him as a young man, or sorry, an older boy at school. We'll say about 13, 14, 15. And then the last picture, he has him as a young man, but he looks old because his life was such hard burden and pressure, that grey hair and all. And I'll go more into that in a minute. But so you get the three times of these three individual pictures, And then after you read that wee sort of prologue, well, it's only a few pages, but it just sets you up to what you're getting yourself into. It goes into then the notebook of the character Yoso. The guy finds these notebooks, and these notebooks have been written throughout time, and it's him as a wee boy, him as a young man, or him as a child or a schoolboy, and then him as a young man. So you're getting them with the three pictures. You're getting the three sort of parts in his life, and the whole talk or the whole then narrative is pretty much Yuzo explaining his outlook in life and the characters around him and the fear he has for others and the hatred he has for himself. You know, it's quite sad. Like, it's one of them ones. It's a deep one. It's a very deep read. It's not like plot driven, full on. There is a bit of a plot there because you're going through his life. You know, as a wee boy, it kind of shows you what he was like with his family, how he felt out of place, even to his own mum and dad and his sister and that. You know, he felt out of place. Or his brothers, and he put on a mask of a clown. You know, he was joking about and making everybody laugh, but deep inside he was screaming. He was scared and feeling out of place even in his own family. And then when he goes to school, it's the same scenario. It's him mixed in with all these other wee boys, and it's a fake persona again. And he's pretending to be somebody other than himself. And it all comes down to fear and trust in other people. And he has a mental illness. There's no doubt about it. Yozo has a mental illness in this, where his shame and his fear gets locked up behind a mask, and it eats him from the inside out. That would be the best way of putting it. And when it eats him from the inside out, when he gets to a certain age, he's like his own worst enemy. Even when there's people maybe reaching out for him to help him, he's bringing himself down. And there's people like that in the world. You know, you see the people and you think, oh, why are they hitting the drugs and why are they drinking every day and why would not go out and try and help them? You know, you could actually be reaching out to people and trying to help them, but there's so much self-loathing that they don't want to be helped. And we have them in every town in the world. Like, you know, you probably where you live in your town or city, wherever the case may be, you probably have a character like Yuzu, and then after a while you hear a sad story about them killing themselves or got too drunk and fell or something, you know, and that's our character. So we're in his mind, and it is quite sad, and you know, it can be hard at times with a constant just putting himself down and putting everybody down around him. But it was very interesting. There was a few parts that he said that was very thought-provoking. It's a thought-provoking read. It's a deep read. It's definitely a deep read. But it's not long. You could go through it in a day or two. I stretch it out. I like to stretch them out and say I was reading other things. But or if you're a person that doesn't like to read about, you know, like a trigger warning, as we say, you know, because there's some people that struggle through this stuff, or they have struggled through this stuff, and they don't want to read about it, and I understand that completely. I've lost lots of friends, and younger friends when I was younger with suicide, and it's tragic, like, and there's a bit of that in this. There's a bit of thoughts of suicide, a suicide pact with somebody, and there's also the trigger warning would be kind of being like addicted to alcoholism. This guy is really, when he gets to the later stages in life, he's really, like, he's an alcoholic, full blown, and he doesn't want help. He just wants to drink himself. Even when he's getting the help, he's still throwing liquor into him. The opportunity was there for this character to be saved, or save himself, but he wouldn't take it, or he couldn't. It's strange. That's the best way of putting it. Now, the bad side, I need to finish up in 10 minutes, to be too long. The downside of the book, I think, is the female characters. It's Japanese, written 1940, 1950. They're strange, but the female characters don't really feel to me realistic on the things they say and the things they do and the way. But then we're in his point of view, so maybe this is just the way he sees them. I don't know, but they felt out of place to me. Like, there's a character that he's treating really badly, a woman. If some of the women, they just feel not real. I don't think this man's ever talked to a woman in his life. Put it that way. The way he's portrayed women in this, but he's that he also like a woman's guy character. Women all they like him, nice guy. Looking, they reckon, and he's just a lovable guy. They all feel sorry for him because he's so down on himself. So they're all, falling over him. They all want to look after him, but he can be so cheeky and so bad, and they're still doing everything for him and all. And it's just like, nah. Like there's a girl, if I can remember, he's treating really bad, and he like sends her to the shop to get him something. Can't even remember what it was. Probably drink. I know one thing: if I was treating my wife or whatever nasty, being a dick, and then I go to the shop for me and get me beers, she's not going to be all like, oh, thank you very much, and then I'm going to say, oh, you see, that's all women want. Women just want a job to do, because that's what they're good for. They're good for doing that wee bit of work. It keeps them busy. And she's away whistling jolly happy to go and get him his, whatever it was he wants, and he's sitting back thinking, oh, this is great, I'm like, fuck, I don't know about women in Japan, like, but if you just, you'd be like at the birds in Northern Ireland, like, you'd come back with a bottle smashed over your head. You'd be drinking nothing. You'd be lights out. You'd be fucking down in the gutter with a bottle. The only bottle you'd be getting would be smashed over the back of your head, like, so it would be your wife that fucking did it. But that's the way I betray women. This didn't really feel realistic to me. But it is Japan. If there's any people that live in Japan and you've read this book, let me know. Is that the way girls are like over there? I don't know. They'll do anything for you. But that was the downside. And the way women are treated, a wee bit or written about, can maybe be a bit, off-putting for female readers, in my opinion. But it was still a good read. See, if you want to read something like Fyodor Dostoevsky's Notes from the Underground, where you're getting into a man's psychological mind, and it's not a good place. It's a bad place that he is. And you want to try and, you like them, or Albert Camus' The Fall. I think it was The Fall. Pretty sure it was The Fall it was called, where you go into an individual's sort of mind and how he looks at life. And it's, there's a mental illness mixed in there with depression, anxiety, just self-loathing. It's a good book. It gives you a bit of empathy for these people, because these people are there. I'll say that before I start this. These people are out there. I have a few in my town. You see them. I won't mention any names, but people's been living here for years, and we all know them. And it's sad. You see these people, and they drink themselves away, and they don't have. People try and reach out to help them, but they don't want it. And it's like their own worst. They are their own worst enemy, and it's the way it is. And it is a form of mental illness, in my opinion. But that is no longer human. Thank you for watching. I'm going to do another video here. You don't have to watch these all back to back, but yeah, thank you very much. All the best, everybody.